people have not seen this because it hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. The hundreds of thousands of people that turned out to protest Orban in Hungary. Your thoughts?
I had exactly the same feeling. I saw the Orban pictures too, and these are huge emotional marches, and people are carrying torches, and it was on the anniversary of the 1956 Soviet invasion of Hungary, is when the march was held, and there was a moment of 56 seconds of silence, and it's very moving to watch. I mean, it has to be said that that's, of course, after many, many more years of unfair elections, right, and twisted media and really vulgar government attacks on the opposition, and it's the downfall is further along in Hungary, and so people are much angrier. But it's true. I mean, if you think of the Maidan in Kiev in 2014, or you think of even the. Maybe there were in Poland, there were big marches after there was an assault on the judiciary here in Warsaw in 2015 and 2016, and the biggest ones would have there were some with 1 million people in Warsaw, and so they did have, there was a little bit more anger, but it was these maybe felt farther along. Maybe it was because you have more people concentrated in the capital city. I mean, I don't have a good explanation, but I just don't think Americans are angry enough yet, or they haven't felt the impact yet. I mean, Hungarians are much poorer than they should be because of the corruption in their country. And they've now made the connection between the kind of corruption you and I were talking about a minute ago and their own personal lives. Like, they are poor because their leaders are stealing from them. And I don't know that Americans have made that link yet. Maybe they will.
I'm pretty sure that I heard you actually make the point, which I found very, very powerful, is that it took Orban about 15 years to consolidate his authoritarian power, and it's happened so much faster in this country. Orban, and correct me if I'm paraphrasing this incorrectly, Orban was actually kind of careful. Orban was in the sort of I'm going to boil the frog slowly because I don't want to provoke a reaction. We're seeing a very, very different scenario in this country where it feels like we've compressed 15 years of authoritarian drift into 9 months.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Orban was very careful. Most of what he did was legal. It's a long story, but he manipulated the law in such a way that he legally took over these various institutions, and he legally changed the rules. And that was partly because he didn't want counter-reactions, partly because Hungary is inside the European Union, which has rules and so on. And he didn't want to create problems for himself. And we, of course, don't have any of those constraints in the US. But I also think we have this is not so much Trump as the people around him have studied what Orban did and what Erdogan did, and maybe what Chavez did very carefully. And they are, so they were prepared to do, they weren't experimenting when they arrived in January. And they had a list of things they wanted to do and a list of institutions they wanted to destroy. And so they had they were prepared in advance to carry this out. And they may also, they may also have thought, they may also have been conscious of the coming midterms and the possibility of loss and the need to move quickly so that they could have enough control to make sure, the U.S. political system with votes every 2 years and with such close votes. Even the election last year was very, very close. I guess it doesn't look like that on our electoral maps, but it was a few percent, not even whole percentage points apart. And the difference between the House, the House is just a few seats difference. The Senate is just a few seats difference. These margins are very, very small. And so I guess they felt they needed to change the system as much as possible before the midterms. And that's why I keep coming back to the midterms as a really, really, really important turning point.
Really.